Hello, everybody, and welcome to another scintillating and exciting episode of the Chocolate Bros podcast. For those watching the video here, Brian just did a funny little jig. Nice.
That's right. Yeah, I was just reminded of Will Ferrell GIF that somebody sent me not too long ago, where he's going like this, and I just thought I'd spice it up, Adam, with a little happy dance. Let's get happy, baby. We're the Chocolate Brothers. We're the Fortunato number 4 bros, and I'm Brian. That's Adam.
We're here. Yeah, don't forget to check us out at www.fortunatochocolate.com. On the website, we are showing as sold out of 68% dark chocolate. If you're an existing customer, you can shoot Brian an email.
Wait, I have to say that we got such an amazing response to that, Adam.
Oh, did we? Can't even do that.
So just generally speaking, look, we got the best customers in the world.
We have the best.
If anybody wants to dispute that, I will personally punch them right in the left temple of their head with my right hand, which is this is John Jackson and this is Jack Johnson, obviously.
You're defending the honor of our customers.
I'm defending the honor of our customers, but here's the point. They responded in such a full-throated, affirmative manner that I am now, as of this morning, I'm going to be sending out a message to folks saying, we're going to queue you. We have to fulfill what we've got before I even know if we can satisfy that demand. There's been such a flood of orders. We're overwhelmed. It started on the holiday weekend, the Thanksgiving weekend, and we've been behind the 8 ball. So we're getting a lot of emails asking, where's my stuff? It's coming. We promise. The USPS is having some issues. We are trying to catch up with this flood of orders, and it's all moving. It's all in progress. But as of right now, yes, please do send the email. We'll give you a response and let you know that you're in the queue. And once we know exactly where we stand, inventory wise,
did you get a bunch of people asking for 68%?
I got at least 40 yesterday, right after you sent that. And right now I've got another 43 emails. Most of those would be probably asking for that. And then some of those will be asking, where's my chocolate? Because things are taking a little longer, and we appreciate everyone's patience. But yeah, I'd say we're getting close to, we're probably at 75 requests for the 68%. I'm not sure we can fill them all, but we're gonna do our darndest to get it there.
Yeah, well, I sent out a picture with that email showing our stock of 68%.
Yes,
it's paltry.
It's dwindling rapidly. We may be able to borrow a little bit more product from a client,
a wholesale
client that has a little bit of extra stock and won't need it before Christmas. We're looking into that. So we're going to do our darndest. We're going to do our best to get everybody's needs satisfied.
Brian, just 18 months ago, did you ever think that we would be able to send out an email and 73 people would write us back wanting to get some chocolate from us?
I was not even aware of the email technology 18 months ago. I only got my first computer like 7 months ago, Adam, and I received and sent my first email like 4.5 months ago. This is all new to me.
That's not true, but you're the first person I ever knew that had an actual email address.
I have had email long enough that I actually own my name. My personal email that I use, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but I actually have Brian Horsley at yahoo.com. Yeah. And I still use it as my principal personal email address. Did I just say that publicly? No.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey, if you want to do a runaround to get some dark chocolate.
Oh boy, I really blew it. But that's how long I've had email. I own my name. Unfortunately, I did not get on Google. I didn't get Gmail. I didn't get my name at Gmail, unfortunately. I also own brianhorsley.com and brianhorsley.net. That's how long I've been on that.
And also bugoutpants.com as well.
I own Bug Out Pants, Bug Out Vest, Bug Out Belt. Absolutely.
You went heavy on the whole Bug Out domain name thing.
I may still make that a business. If this chocolate thing doesn't work out, I'm going to get heavy in the Bug Out game.
Yeah, and bugging out.
I'm a Bug Out guy. So,
yeah. So along the lines of us having the best customers ever.
The best.
I'm gonna read a review that we have on our website. First, let me just say
the reviews.
All of these reviews are so heartwarming. I read every single one of them. I try to answer every single I try to answer every single email that comes to me quickly. Generally speaking, if you send me an email to adam@fortunatochocolate.com responding to our daily email, I try to send a real thoughtful response to every single person who writes me. I read every single review, sometimes multiple times. They're all so unexpected and heartwarming. I can't express enough how much we appreciate them. This one, though, from John Sullivan, and I already sent John a thank you note for leaving this review. I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Hey, I saw an ad and took a chance. I'm so glad I did. The brothers, Brian and Adam, attend to their product and equally to their customers. After placing the order, I inquired about delivery, and guess what? I received a personal response from them, not a computerized auto response, but a real live person read my email and responded quickly and thoughtfully. I was so impressed. They kept me in the loop the entire way. I've been in the service business all my life, and these young men get it, young man. Nice. He thinks we're young men. Beautiful.
God bless you, John Sullivan. You are doing yeoman work over there with this review. I mean, I'm already deeply into this.
A quality product supported by owners who actually care and understand the relationship they owe to their customers after the sale. As a consumer, you can't ask for more than that. I'm not going to get into his review of our actual product. I want to just point out here.
But he loved the product.
He loved the product too. He said he's a professional chef and he loved the product. In this,
that's heartwarming because as the customer service guys, man, oh man.
And it's interesting because of the world that we live in now.
Yes.
All you got to do is just be a good dude, be a good person, and people really appreciate it. And this got me thinking to some other experiences that I've had recently, where it's becoming more obvious to me, maybe as I get older, or maybe as we kind of get deeper into our business career here, that what people like are other people. They like personal connections, and a product is a good product, but if the people who make that product suck or are unethical or have a bad attitude, even if the product is great, that company will become persona non grata. Like, you'll stop doing business with somebody who puts out a great product if the people behind the product aren't good. And to me, it's becoming more and more obvious that people to people connection, which maybe has been lost because of the digital world that we're increasingly living in, it hasn't disappeared at all. In fact, maybe it's more important than ever. And I thought it would be cool to share some of our people experiences from the years that we've been in business.
I love that idea. And I just want to say, by the way, we bounce off of more people than ever. You're online, you get 100 people commenting on whatever you put up. We get these reviews, but it's the quality of those interactions that's lacking. They're either just outright negative or fleeting and impersonal. And so I mean, people may not realize, probably the type of folks that are listening to this podcast might, but I mean, we still personally, you and I still receive every email that comes into our company.
And honestly, I kind of don't want to change that.
I mean, it'll get too big at some point for us to do every single one. So some of them are kind of mechanical issues, and I farm them out a little bit to Zachary, who helps me with.
But he's a real guy and a good guy.
But he's a real guy who actually writes all the emails and so
cares.
We take this seriously, and we take our relationships with our customers seriously because it deserves it. And and I was looking through, Adam. I tend to go through and respond to reviews that aren't as complimentary. And so, by the way, speaking of people, because here's an example, if I may, here's an example of somebody who didn't love the product, probably a good person. It's a 3-star review, and they said it's just a little too sweet for their taste, and they would like a darker, higher cacao content chocolate for the purists. And she went on to say the chocolate is not that much better than Trader Joe's at a much lower price. I would dispute that. And we've gone into before the fact that when you get into that low of a price per pound, you're basically investing in the extreme poverty of farmers. And that's something we're not interested in doing. But it was a respectful note, even the people that maybe that the chocolate isn't their first love. But people typically, most people are just good people. You could have a difference of opinion on which team you support, or which candidate you support, or which religion you pertain to. But at the end of the day, if you put all that aside and just have a one-on-one interaction with people, whether it's a business interaction or a personal interaction, most people end up being pretty good folks.
And you want to know something? You can disagree with people without you guys hating each other.
Right.
It seems like that's been something that's been lost. Like, just because someone tells us that they don't think our chocolate is that much better than Trader Joe's, even if we disagree with them,
right?
I'm not going to hate you for saying that. You're entitled to your opinion.
It doesn't mean they're wrong. For them, it wasn't great. For me, it's amazing. It's not right or wrong. They just like something.
Absolutely. And you know what? We might as well talk about this right now, before we get into more of the heart of what we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this darker, higher cacao percentage chocolate idea.
Good idea.
Can I tell about a little experience this is what immediately comes to my mind.
No, Adam, I'm sorry. You can't.
Yeah, you go ahead then. Yeah,
No. If you ask it as a question, it's better to just say it and then get forgiven afterwards.
Yeah, that's good call. I should have just jumped right into it.
Jump right in there.
Yeah,
Go
no,
on.
that's fine. Yeah, no, that's podcasting 101. Don't ask for permission to say the thing.
Don't ask for
Just say
permission.
it.
Yes, you may, but first, let me just say
Yeah.
that. No, go ahead.
We had a 100% cacao product that I think
delicious
was one of the, it was a great, it might have been our best product.
It was splendid.
It was a great product. And I am actually one of these people who does like a very dark chocolate. So
right, you more so than me.
I'm with you. Like I'm with that customer who wrote us.
By the way, a little bit background. I'm sorry, just to backtrack 1 second. Since I receive most of the emails directly from customers, a lot of them, not most. You may get more than I do. You put the emails out.
I get like 30 or 40 a day.
So do I, at least.
Yeah.
But so customer service emails I get, and I get a lot of people asking through the website, why don't you offer a higher percentage? That's probably the most frequent question I get. So continue.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I'm with you. So, the product in question, we developed these products. They were little 6-gram squares, kind of like the Ghirardelli squares. They were 100% cacao. They were made by a company that doesn't even exist in the same form anymore. They were made by this company, ChalkXO. ChalkXO, which you can actually, they got like keto chocolate in Costco now. But they were going to be a small kind of.
By the way, to anyone who's listening, don't buy that stuff. It's garbage. It's garbage. Yeah. Stick with the F4.
Stick with the F4.
Absolutely.
But the owner, Richard Foley, is a really cool guy, really successful, great guy.
Richard. Yep.
And they were going to do a small batch bean to bar cafe in Irvine, California. And they roasted the cacao, and it was packaged in Vancouver, Canada.
Yep.
And we went up to their factory and saw the factory. It's amazing factory, really cool place. You probably never had a chance to go there, but
I never went to the. I went to the Irvine facility.
Their place in Vancouver was awesome.
Yeah, Richard's a good businessman, a good guy, and runs an absolutely solid ship.
Yeah. And so so we were having the cocoa liquor made at Irvine, and then they were shipping it up to their packaging facility in Vancouver to have it molded and packaged. And the game plan was for us to sell that online, and it was also for us to try to get that into grocery stores. And I loved that product. I still have some of it in my house right now. We're still trying to eat through the inventory. So we had to make.
Well, thanks for sharing, bro. By the way, I just really appreciate
where I live, bro.
Bringing that that into the office.
You know where I live, bro.
I've been to your house many times. I was never offered any 100%. I never realized that you had any. It's not like out on display or anything. I never like sat down to eat at your table, which I have done many times. And you said, "Oh, hey, by the way, bro, like some of this 100%, this massive stock of 100%. We've been eating through it for 4 years and haven't finished it yet. So please jump in and help us out." Never a word.
Do most people put all the stuff they have in their pantry out on display? So
most people who spend several years trying to eat through the stock of something delicious would occasionally try to flip down a bar
you just said you don't even like the higher cacao stuff.
I love. Did I not say ours was delicious? I said it's not my typical jam, but I can enjoy it, and ours was great.
It is my typical jam because I have like 10,000 units of it in the house.
I've been through your house before. Where do you have a special trap door in the floor where there's
we have a
subterranean chocolate storage basement? Is that what's up?
We have a sauna that doesn't work, and it's in our sauna. We use it for storage.
Oh, that's unhygienic. I don't want any of that. Thank you.
I thought you were gonna go like, well, Lottie freaking da.
Thank you. No, yeah. If the sauna was working, I would give you a Lottie da. But since you're just using it as a closet, I'm not really interested. Moldy sauna chocolate.
It's not moldy. It's not. The sauna is not moldy, nor is the chocolate. It's in good shape. So
I wouldn't know. So I wouldn't know.
So we had a lot. In order to do this project, we had to do a minimum run.
And that's where we're going with this story.
We had to do a minimum run, and I think we ended up investing maybe like $40,000 or $50,000.
Was it that much?
And maybe because we did 2 products.
Well, that's what happened to my end of year bonus that year, Adam. Now I'm a little disgruntled. You've been eating my bonus for 4 years, Adam. Come on.
We actually did 2 products at that time. We did these 100% cacao squares, and then we did cacao nibs with dried blueberries, and they were both delicious.
Wonderful.
And let me tell you something, neither one of them sold very well at all.
We didn't know how to do it back then. We didn't have the
we didn't know how to
model.
do
We
it.
didn't have the fulfillment. We didn't have any of that stuff in place.
So now the people who make our chocolate right now, Max Falcon, we've talked about them a lot on this show, in Switzerland, they have made samples of 100% cacao chocolate for us before. And while Falcon is great at making chocolate, and they make all of our Fortunato number 4 chocolate, I wasn't that impressed with the 100% chocolate bars that they made for us. The guys in Irvine and Vancouver who made it for us, they were awesome, but the minimum run was really big, but they don't even do that anymore. So
Yeah,
one thing is like, we don't
what-
even have a company to really make it for us in the way that we'd want to be
right.
made.
And what you said there is really important. There are two things you said that are really important. One is Max Falcon AG are masters at what they do, but this isn't really what they do. They don't make any 100% chocolate. It's not what they roast for. It's not what they process for. It's just not in their line. They don't have a single instance of that in their line. It's not their specialty. And it's just not something that they do. And therefore they haven't accumulated the 700 years of experience doing that. And the other one is, like you said, we want to do it a certain way. But to do chocolate at this level that we're trying to achieve and maintain, you have to do a minimum order. And that implies a lot of stock. And then you have to gauge, what is the demand for that product? What do you think the demand is for the 100%? I mean, I know there's some out there, we certainly hear from people, but is it enough to justify a minimum order and get it out while it's fresh?
Yeah. And because I've had these two, I know one that's just like, I know that this other way that we did it, people would love it. And I actually would do that now, given that we have customers asking for it, but it doesn't exist anymore. And the product that we could easily have made, even though we do have to do a pretty big minimum run, I'm just not as confident in it. And I don't know that these people who are asking for it would like it. So that's one. Now, also, when we first got into business, and we were trying to figure out like what the right percentages were, I remember hearing about a study where they did blind taste tests of dark chocolate. And even the people, and somewhere in one of these books written by Malcolm Gladwell, he talks about how everybody says they like a dark roast, like they like a real dark, hearty
until they do a blind taste test and choose a ones, right?
Yeah, or they like a lot of milk and sugar in their coffee, right? They actually don't. They like the idea of a hearty roast, but what they really would choose, if you're just talking about flavor, is milk and sugar,
lighter and sweeter. Yeah,
lighter and sweeter. And what they found when they did a study of just blind taste tests is that the bulk of people expressed an interest or expressed a preference for a 68% dark chocolate. And that is why we initially went with the 68% dark chocolate. Also, all of the tasting people at Falcon recommended the 68% dark chocolate. I'm rambling. I'm going to say one more thing, then I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm hogging the podcast right now.
You are.
I'm sorry about that. The last thing I want to throw over to you for your consideration also is, I think we have made a philosophical decision that chocolate doesn't necessarily have to be a health food.
Right.
There is a place to just have something that is as delicious as it possibly can be. And you could get your health food elsewhere. Although a 68% dark chocolate, as far as things go, is not really that bad. And it still has a lot of nutrition that can do you well.
Yeah.
But I think we've made a decision to produce stuff that is highly delicious, as opposed to maximizing for health benefits. All right, now I'm going to throw it over to you, Brian. Go ahead.
So I think a lot of the people that are asking for the higher percentage, and we kind of get two categories of people. There's actually three. There's three product requests that we've received a bunch of times. One is something without sugar, and that's just something we're not going to do. It's just that's not our take on chocolate. There's people that want it made with xylithin or whatever it is. There's people that want it made with allulose or stevia. And there are options out there. That's probably not something there's just almost no demand for it. And it's not really part of our market. And then there's folks who want a higher percentage, like an 85%, and folks that ask for, do we have 100%? And so we know there's some market out there for it. And we know that for us, it wouldn't be a health offering. It would just be because it tastes great. And so we would need to come up with a formulation. It all comes down to, can we sell enough of it in a fast enough period to make sure that it's fresh and at the highest peak of its flavor and quality, and get it out to the folks and have it be economical? Because as you say, there's a certain minimum order that's implied. And the company that we've thrown our lot in, they really don't specialize in that high a percentage. And you and I are not convinced that that's in their comfort zone of making an absolutely stellar world-class product. And so it puts us in so we would have to make a decision to have another producer to really go kind of all in. Or the other thing is you can find potentially a smaller chocolate maker, a more of a craft chocolate maker. And then, so that we've talked on this show before about the difference between a larger, a little bit more industrial chocolate making setting and the kind of consistency and quality that that machinery offers, and the craft chocolate maker who is a little bit more specific, batch by batch, and how they process. And we know some amazing, chocolate maker clients of ours and acquaintances of ours that could probably make a product that would be a knockout of the park home run with our beans and making 100%. The kinds of craft chocolate makers that make that great of chocolate and know how to do that are mostly too busy with their own products they don't have a lot of spare production capacity, for one thing. And again, to make it worth your while, you have to produce in an amount that makes it tough for us to sell. So it's a little, we think about this and we want to do it, but it's just not as easy as just snapping your fingers. We don't have our own factory, so we can't experiment with something like that. So there's a lot of great reasons to do it. There's some compelling reasons why we haven't. And I know that you and I are always thinking about how could we maybe, get back to doing that, because that product you made with Chalkso was truly stellar, even for the person like myself who's not the greatest 100% cacao chocolate fan. I really did like that. It's awesome. I wouldn't mind having some more. I'll tell you the truth.
I'm going to bring some with me to the shop today.
Ha!
Swing by.
Ha! I strongly doubt that.
Hey, Brian, you're going to have to carry the show because I got my son, my 3-year-old crying in the background. I'm working on my home office, so I might have to mute myself a little bit. So,
okay.
So I think what we're more likely to do in the short term, I think what'll be easier is, now that we have our shop in Issaquah, can you hear my son in the background?
I hear him. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It might just keep going, so we'll see how it goes. I think what we're more likely to do is maybe like nibs clusters.
Yeah.
Like
do some products that like we've done.
Yeah. So
before
that increases the cacao content and makes
Absolutely.
it darker.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't require us to actually manufacture a whole new bar.
Yeah.
We have like chocolate covered almonds now that we're doing, which we can't do in large enough quantities to sell on the website, but we're making plans to be able to expand our production of that.
Right. And
that lowers
Yeah.
the overall sugar percentage in the product, while still allowing you to enjoy the Fortunato No. 4 chocolate. So I think those are probably more viable for the near future, but
I think that's an interesting thing to let people know too, is that we're kind of in an ongoing product development phase right now. And that implies that we have some rudimentary machinery, and we have a small space, our new retail store, and we have a fella, Javier, who is really, really good at this stuff. And so we're working on coming up with some new and different products, some stuff to entice our amazing customers with new flavors. And that's what you said is a great thing, which is if you take that 68% chocolate and you put nibs into it in bar form, or you pan nibs with that dark chocolate, then not only do you get that amazing crunch, but you get that deep higher cacao percentage feel. And so that is definitely something that we're looking at in terms of a way to, it's not going to be that creamy, smooth chocolate, just chocolate with that 100%. That is a little bit more elusive for us right now because of the state of the industry and our particular place in it. But we think about it, we take those requests seriously. My standard answer is, we don't right now. I'm sorry, we're looking for a way. And people probably think, oh, well, they're just putting us off. We're not. We really do think about it. We really would like to do it. We've done it before, and it's a great product because our beans are really top level. But it just like with, there's a lot of good ideas out there that are wanting a profitable way to implement them. And this is a case of that. We can't lose money on it because we're a small family company and we don't have the resources to sort of do loss leaders or passion projects that don't have some kind of potential to keep us in business. So, that's where it's at. And I know we both love to get back into it, but we're looking for the way.
Yeah, well, and I like making people happy. I like doing stuff that gets us those really amazing 5-star reviews. And so if
Do
we
you,
had,
by the way, I know that you like making our chocolate customers happy, but who else are you making happy, Adam? I just want to know. I'm like who are you focused on here? Because I feel like I am a little bit disgruntled right now with this revelation of the sauna packed with 100%. Who are we making happy over here? Because it's not me.
our
It's not
mom,
me.
our mom,
Okay.
our mom is happy with some of the stuff I do.
Well, she has some thoughts on that she's expressed to me, but
Is she talking to you about me behind my back?
it's possible. I'm not going to like drop a dime on mom, but I mean, conversations do take place.
Okay, so I'm
occasionally,
pretty sure I make mom happy. So there's that.
Mhm.
I'd say my wife, Neri, is happy.
Also, conversations happening that
He's
you may not.
talking to Neri about me behind my back.
I don't want to like, imply anything, but there are things have been said. Yes,
I think Javier is happy with this.
Javier is happy. That guy's happy. He seems like a pretty upbeat individual, and he's getting the chance to express his.
He's a
creativity.
great. Yeah. I guess that's it. I mean, I get like 30 or 40 emails a day from our customers, but you already said who else besides the chocolate customers.
That's right. That's right.
I guess not many other people, just mom, my wife, and then the chocolate customers.
What about your sons? How are your sons feeling about you? Are they happy?
Well, you've got kids, so
I've got kids, yeah.
I'd say generally I have very happy kids, but little kids are the most dramatic people in the world. It's a roller coaster with those guys.
I don't know if little kids are more dramatic than my 13-year-old daughter. I would say medium kids might even be more dramatic. So you have that to look forward to.
Yeah. So I'd say generally they're happy, but I guess you just heard my 3-year-old in the background crying. He does that a lot.
Poor Daniel.
And a 3-year-old cries over some stuff. You're trying to reason with him. He's like, it's like, hey, look, you have ketchup on your plate. He's like, no, but I wanted a bowl. I'm like, I don't know why I got to put ketchup in a separate bowl. I don't know why that's a big deal.
No, if he's like my son, he'll then turn around and say, well, I never want ketchup again. Come on, buddy. You got the ketchup.
And I don't know why as a parent or as a father, I feel like I got to draw the line on that. I'm like, no,
right.
You eat that ketchup off that plate, young man. When I was growing up, we didn't have separate dishes for ketchup.
We didn't even have condiments. We didn't have the money for condiments.
Hey,
come on.
My parents served me one plate with everything on it, and I was happy with it. All right, so you just buckle down and eat that.
That's funny.
So yes, I would say I do make my kids happy.
All right,
but not all the time.
All right, that's good. Well, that's a father's job.
Yeah.
Talking about happy people, you
I
brought something up at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you brought something up in the beginning, which is that life, business, chocolate, whatever. It's kind of all about the relationships with people. Well, you and I have this great relationship. We josh, we joke, we kid. I'm giving you the business, but the truth is, we're bros. We love each other. That's not going anywhere.
I'm sorry that I put our relationship at risk by not sharing that image. I didn't mean to do that.
You didn't risk the relationship. You just risked my happiness level, Adam.
Yeah,
but no, but the truth is you do make me happy. And one of the great things about this project from start to finish has been the amazing people that we know. You and I always say something here, we're like, great guy. But it's because there's so many great people in the world, and we really do dig, the wonderful people that we've met. And so you're talking about the people portion of this. It's so important. It's so fundamental. And we've met so many great ones. What do you got to say about that?
I'm gonna talk about some specific experiences, but I think with the movement of social media and leaving comments on articles, and like we send out emails and we sell a lot of stuff online. I think with all of that going on, it's really easy to forget something fundamental, which is on the other side of that computer. Or on the other side of that phone, or on the other side of that website, or on the other side of the reviews that we get online, or the people who actually receive our chocolate, are real flesh and blood human beings. They're not just avatars on a screen. They're actual people you're dealing with. And I know from that review, the guy mentioned that, hey, he didn't get an automated response. He got a real response from a real person. Like, people can tell when they're getting an automated response.
Sure.
And when you auto respond somebody, you're basically just treating them like a number. You're not treating them like an actual person with feelings who deserves to be respected and appreciated as a customer. Now, if you go in person to a restaurant and the waiter treats you like junk, like, they got to look you in the eyes and do that to you. It's a much more visceral reaction. And then, you can go talk to their manager. But when you're doing stuff online, it's so easy to forget, like you're dealing with real people. And so I think over the last couple of years, it's really becoming more and more obvious. I'm sure this was always obvious to you because you lived in Campo with cacao farmers for such a long time. But when we were wholesaling to restaurants, like we didn't get to deal with the people who ate our chocolate. We didn't see what impact it had. But now that we're selling directly to the public, it's becoming more plain to me how important and how impactful a well carried out human to human interaction can be. So one example that I gave to you before we got on that has struck me as quite interesting lately is we get a lot of homeless people coming into our shop. And
we should explain something for the folks that don't know. Issaquah is a very, very prosperous area, very high housing value. It's a prosperous, mellow suburb to the east of Seattle, in between Seattle and the Cascade Mountains that rise up just east of Issaquah, and it is extremely prosperous. But and there's not any kind of overwhelming homeless population here, but there are a few. I would guess it's a dozen or so homeless people in Issaquah, and they tend to be along be in a couple of areas that takes them on a route that kind of runs on a street that's near our store. And they have seen the signs that are out for our store that say free hot chocolate, just to give people. So we're not like on Skid Row or something.
No,
here.
No.
There is no Skid Row. It's just that we're on the path that the very small homeless population walk by.
I'm actually going to tell you something about the homeless population in Issaquah that you may not know about. But yes, so in our shop that we just opened up like a little over a month ago in Issaquah, we give out free hot chocolate all day, every day. And it's so much fun.
Expectation that
no expectation that anyone wants to buy anything. We just want to do it because it's a fun community thing. And so we have big A-frame sandwich boards out on the sidewalk that say free hot chocolate with an arrow.
Follow the sign.
So one thing you may not know about Issaquah is that a lot of homeless folks come to Issaquah to go to the Target over there, because what I learned is that Target has a policy where they don't chase down or prosecute shoplifting. So a lot of homeless folks come to Issaquah just to roll up into Target and take stuff out. And that's why, like on I want to say on Maple and 900, you'll see like right over by the Issaquah parking lot,
those carts, all those
carts. So what a lot of homeless folks do is they come into Issaquah, they go to Target, they take a bunch of stuff out of Target, they just walk out, and they take their stuff over to the Issaquah parking lot, they leave the cart, and then they take off. So we get a lot of transitory people coming through town. Although just last week I was over at Target, and there was like a big police bust. And the Issaquah Police Department was over there arresting a bunch of people who were.
The theory being that Target doesn't, but the police certainly don't want that activity going on. And also, I have driven past there; those carts were starting to accumulate. It isn't as things get more expensive. It's a problem, and this isn't for us to give a political view about the homeless population. People are homeless for a lot of different reasons, but but certainly we don't want the carts accumulating in any place, and we don't want crime just happening.
No, and I mean, it messes up the experience for Target shoppers to have to like watch a bunch of people shoplifting.
Right, and it's potentially dangerous to Issaquah residents to have just this sort of brazen
honestly,
crime.
Even if it wasn't homeless people, I mean, if it was just like teenagers, like local teenagers, just brazenly shoplifting, it'll ruin Target for you to just see that happening. Like you said, you don't want to just have brazen crime happening. So setting that aside, so we get a lot of homeless people coming by our shop.
Yeah, we should say that the street that connects Target to the Park and Ride, the bus terminal that's right there, is adjacent to the commercial area where our store is located.
Yeah, and we're like right in between where people can come in on public transportation and where Target is.
Right.
So we're like right on a main thoroughway to get from the.
We're deep inside. We're deep inside that commercial center, but they walk right by an entrance driveway that has two of the big sandwich boards.
Yep. So we get a fair amount of homeless people coming in, and I'm totally happy to and willing to honor our sign for homeless folks who I know are not going to buy anything, and maybe who other establishments wouldn't feel so comfortable having them in their store. I've had several occasions now where I have a whole bunch of Issaquah residents with their kids shopping in the store, drinking hot chocolate, while a couple of homeless people also stand around and drink their hot chocolate. And it's pretty interesting, and I'm happy it happens. I'm happy it happens because like they're all people. And it is a thing that is happening in the world. We got homeless folks. Like they shouldn't be a pariah class. In fact, maintaining that homeless folks should be like a pariah class will exacerbate the homeless problem. I believe that. So, but
Yeah.
what I want to point out is that homeless people come in. I can see when they come in, they're like kind of looking down at the floor. They feel like they're coming in to get a charity. But what they don't know is we give that free hot chocolate away to anybody. It's not a charity. So to me, they're just a regular person coming in, getting what they got a right to come get. And I treat them with like that. I treat them with respect and dignity. I look them in the eyes. I talk to them the same way I would talk to our other customers, which is, hey, I want to know your name. I want to know how you feel about chocolate. And so here's what's pretty interesting. All right. So when you start to treat somebody with dignity and respect and you establish a real personal relationship, we give them a hot chocolate, whipped cream, marshmallows. I invite them to come over and taste the samples. We've had some homeless folks come in that are like, know about chocolate and are into chocolate, which these are just people.
Yeah.
These are just people. These are just
and they had a
people.
life. They had a whole life and a whole life experience before they found themselves in a homeless condition.
And there's
So
no
they may have
reason-
been a chef. You don't know.
Yeah, and they like chocolate like almost everybody else,
The brain chemistry that's basic to humans that makes us love chocolate is not unique to folks that have a roof over their head.
Yeah. And so they come in, they sample, a lot of these guys will just like, and I let them, they'll take the tongs and they'll just put like this huge serving of samples in their hand because they're hungry, they're gonna take these samples with them. And I let them, I just try to treat them with a lot of dignity and respect. And honestly, man, I could see like by the time they walk out, they're starting to stand up a little taller. They got their head up. They're looking me in the eyes. We're having a regular conversation. And I could just see that regular human interaction lifts up their spirit so much. Now it's not only a homeless people, like anybody who comes into the store or anybody who writes us an email and gets a sincere human interaction digs it, and they're not used to it. And it's so important. So that has been one like really powerful human thing for me, where I've been able to see the power of treating somebody really, really well. And it makes me feel great too. So it's not only good for them, it's good for me, it's good for the soul. So that's one thing. And I was wanting to ask you, like, who are some of the people, or what are some of the people experiences you've had during this journey that have been really meaningful for you?
Well, so yeah, I'd say just a little something to sort of along the same lines. You sent out an email the other day about the stevedores, about the cargadores in Peru, and it's similar. These aren't homeless guys; these are just blue collar working guys, but they're not used to being wined and dined by a client. Essentially, they're not used to being treated like as equals and talked to and explained about what the product is and given a sample of the product and sort of being included as fundamental members of the team that gets this thing exported. They've told me that a lot of the clients just look at them as human donkeys, basically, just no good for nothing more than loading weight. But these are guys with families and kids, and they like to go play soccer, and they like to go out dancing on the weekends or not. They're just people that work a job that entails lifting a lot of heavy stuff, but they've all got their own deal going on. And when just having a normal conversation and not feeling like I'm the guy who's exporting this, so I'm better than the guy who's loading it on there, that basic interaction, you can see them open up, and they're thrilled to just be like included in the conversation and shown some respect, some basic respect, and treated as important, because they're fundamentally critically important. And so that whole concept that you're talking about just giving people that basic respect and treating them as equals goes a long way in life and business. And it's stood us well in this project. And so I'd say,
you know what another cool thing is, man? When you're like out in Campo and people would look at you and you're an American, so there's a bunch of assumptions about you. But when you just
they give you an honorific when they're addressing you.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of assumptions, but
right,
like us, we speak Spanish. So just even that first moment where you just start speaking Spanish to somebody, even here in the United States when there's Spanish speaking folks, but I would say especially I experienced this out in Campo. Like you're out on their farm, you're out eating the food that they cooked for you in their humble surroundings. You're speaking Spanish, you're you're just hanging out. And when you do that, you're just all regular people. I mean, I think that really means a lot, that you're able to come in and interact with them on their own terms,
Yeah.
where they're from. I just think that's all has always been a big deal.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And so I was just thinking as you were saying that, like, I've met so many thousands of people throughout this whole process, and like, who are some of the notable characters that I've met? And obviously on the farming side, Noé, Don Fortunato, and Don Becho, all
So
my
what
workers.
let me ask you this. So
Mhm.
Noé is a guy who we still work so much with. Noé runs our clone
Absolutely.
garden. He's like basically in charge of our fermenting and drying now.
Yeah.
Um, like, what did you think when you first met Noé? How did that relationship happen, and how did it evolve?
He's a low key guy. I thought I sort of sensed an immediate kinship with him.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. He made sure to come over to me. He was sort of aggressively pursuing having us come and operate there in his part of the world. He asked us to come out there, invited us, sat us down in his home. He was very open about the fact that he was hoping that a company would come in and invest in that amazing product that they had in the zone. He knew that they had this treasure, this cacao. He's a cacao savant, and he knew they had something special out there. So he was actively looking for somebody to bring some capital to bear on this issue and improve the lives of the farmers out there. So I really liked that. He wasn't diffident about it. He didn't seem to be like, how can I say? He wasn't coming at it like in a like, how can I say it? He wasn't coming at it from a position of like he wanted something from us. He knew he was presenting us with an opportunity that would be mutually beneficial, and he treated it as such. And I could sense that about him. I could sense how smart he was right from the beginning. So it's been amazing. Noé and I are like equals in every way, and it's been a great relationship. We're great friends. I'm the godfather to two of his boys. I stay at his house when I go there.
But you want to know something? If Noé would have just say put up a Facebook post,
Mhm.
or I don't know, tried to send out cold emails or cold call like American chocolate companies
Yeah.
to try to get someone to come invest, like, that's way less powerful than you hanging out with him and going and eating at his house
Mhm.
and meeting his kids and stuff. Yeah, like the
And
real personal interactions just
yeah,
they're crazy exponentially more meaningful
that's true.
than
And
anything you could ever digitize.
Noé's on Facebook after Internet
Yeah,
Campo,
yeah.
and he could do that, but it was essentially like he was waiting for a fish to swim into his little pond, and as soon as I got in there, he put a hook in the water and got me, got us, and he knew exactly what he was doing and why, and he's smart, he's shrewd that way, really smart. So, and he's funny, and he's just a good guy. He's a fun guy to hang around with.
Let me ask you this, bro. What was it like the first time you ever stood up and presented at the Cacao Growers Association meetings?
A little bit nerve wracking.
So what was that? How many people were there? What was that like? And
Maybe
what was the reception?
150 people
That's a
all
lot.
looking at me. I'm sitting up at the dais, and everybody's staring at me.
How did they introduce you?
I can't even remember. It was Sarah Paredes that introduced me, and she was, the crowd was very sort of deferential, as they would be to any visitor who's coming in, especially if it was the first, foreigner to ever present to that group. And I think they were appreciative of my Spanish, even though it probably wasn't as good then as it might be now. But it wasn't bad. And it was a little nerve wracking. I was sort of introducing myself and putting myself out there in front of all these people, and, very down to earth, really smart, really,
Handsome?
no, not me, them.
Oh, them. Yeah, they're handsome too. Are you saying they're not? Were you saying the cacao farmers aren't handsome?
I
Brian?
assumed you were referring to me, but maybe that's
Yeah.
egotistical on my part. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, but they were looking up at me.
I thought you were describing yourself as like very common
No.
sense, down to earth.
No, I was talking about them.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, but I would say they were looking at me with a certain skepticism that was born of having received pitches from nonprofits that had been in there from time to time.
Oh, that's interesting.
That didn't end up being nearly as beneficial to them as what the people had promised. And so they had a certain jaded skepticism, I would say, of what I was saying, that it took some time to overcome. Yes, so that was a little bit nerve-wracking.
And was the only way to overcome that just being around and talking to them and hanging out with them? I mean, how'd you ultimately overcome that? Just by being on the scene?
what you say, how you say it, and then just be in there. But one thing that I have learned as my time in nonprofits and my time in for-profit business, if you go in promising the world, then you're almost certain to disappoint
That's
everybody.
a good point.
So it's all about, and Peruvian culturally have a real problem disappointing other people. They really prefer don't do that. So even if they know something's going to take 3 days, they'll say, oh yeah, tomorrow, because they don't want you to get upset at that moment. And then they'll drag it out and drag it out and drag it out. So I came in with an attitude of, I'm going to politely and respectfully and really personably, even charmingly, if I'm able to muster it, tell you exactly the truth. And so I told them, this isn't going to be some magic pill that's going to pull you all up to a better economic status. It's not that. We just want to buy your beans that you're already producing. We'll give you a better price. Hopefully it'll catch on in the market. We'll be able to continue doing this and continue to accrue benefits to you. And over time, we'll start to see the results of this. But it's not, this is not a 3-year plan for you guys to build new X. It's not that. This is just an ongoing relationship that we want to form and build that we hope over time will accrue some financial benefits to you and your family. And that's if we survive. And I told them all that. And I think they appreciated hearing the truth.
Yeah, you know what? And that just makes me think about another thing too. A lot of the stories we tell, like, in our emails and that we tell people in the store, they're true. They're true. We kind of
That's the story about me being a handsome, down to earth guy. It's so totally true.
That's totally true.
Totally true, man.
Yeah, you are handsome for sure. But another thing is just being sincere.
Yeah.
And being authentic. Actually,
sincerity and authentic
honestly,
authenticity.
Wouldn't you say that that's something that people get better at with age? As you get a little bit older, you get much better just telling the truth.
But I will say
and not trying to be showy or impress people.
And so the farmers and most of the chocolate makers that we've gotten to deal with are also fairly sincere, authentic people. I'm thinking of all the different chocolate makers, some of whom ended up being clients and some of whom didn't, that I've come across in our time in the industry, that came down to Peru for the Lima Cacao and Chocolate Salon. Just thinking about one who did end up becoming a client of ours was Charlie Wheelock, who came down to Peru, and we hung out solid for like 3 or 4 days, had a great time. And then he came back and there's not a person in the world who's more authentically himself than Charlie. This is Woodblock Chocolate in Portland, Oregon.
Worth checking out. Great company.
Highly recommend. Charlie is a master at something that almost no other chocolate maker does. It's called enfleurage. He does it's the French art of imparting flavor by packaging something with another something. So he enfleurages, for example, thin discs of chocolate with hops that give it a kind of a beery, hoppy flavor, like an IPA kind of flavor, but it's not beer, it's just the hops. He also puts hibiscus in and other spices and plants and things with chocolate, and infuses the chocolate with that flavor just by their naturally being in the same area. If you ever had a chance to if you're in Portland, Oregon, and go to Woodblock Chocolate, Charlie's a great guy, funny, fun, and makes some great products, including with our beans. But sincere, authentic, just honestly himself. Yeah, that's one of the great things when you run up against somebody. And I think most of our customers that we hear from, they like that about us, and I think they're expressing that about themselves when they communicate with us, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, man, on a different topic that happened to me in the grocery store yesterday. I was in line, and I was buying like 10 bags of marshmallows and 10 canisters of whipped cream.
Normal day at the grocery store.
I buy a lot of that stuff now for the hot chocolate in the store. And obviously, when you check out, the question is, hey, why do you got so much whipped cream and marshmallows? Like, what are you, insane? Are you going back to your house to just eat whipped cream and marshmallows right now?
Yes, I am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I am. I'm not going back to my house. I'm going to eat these in the car. So I'm just going to put down the back row of the seats. I'm going to sit up. I'm going to sit in the back of my RAV4 and pound these.
Just look at the checker and just say, I'm off lotion. It's all whipped cream now. I don't see how moist my skin is. That's not lotion. That's whipped cream.
No, I just rubbed whipped cream.
The whole body. It's 1 can per day. It's the whole bunch.
Yeah. And then in order to take it off, I get a croissant. and I just wipe it off my face. and eat it.
Because it's kind of squeegee shaped. I like that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
like
Get a
it.
croissant,
Yeah.
just wipe it off and eat it.
Mhm.
But the cashier started asking, asked me, and I launched into our store, which I do. I'm happy to do because I'm trying to get people to know about the store. But it was pretty interesting that the people in line and the people behind me, like in the other checkout line, everybody stopped and looked over and started listening to what was going on. People get riveted by by somebody being willing to share
Mhm.
their experiences. It's riveting. People,
Are you
people.
sure they weren't muttering like, "Can we get it going?" under their breath? Are you
No,
sure
no,
about
because
that?
I said like, hey guys, I know I'm holding you up. Do you want me to stop? Because I don't want to. They're like, no, 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 keep going with the story. Um, there's something hypnotizing and riveting about people opening up and authentically sharing, like sharing a story and connecting. I mean, there's just something about it, which is why a lot of the religious texts that exist in the world have morality delivered, but the delivery method is stories and fables and stuff.
Mhm.
Something about the way the human brain is set up. We receive information so much better through stories and authentic personal connection
Mhm.
than facts. It's just how it is. It's a fact. That's a fact. And so that's one of the things I've just been learning, that humans crave and thrive off of authentic connection. So there you go, man. For whatever that's worth.
Yeah. So tell me the one most impactful person you've met on this chocolate journey that we're on. Can you sum it up? This is not to disrespect all the other hundreds of people, but the one person that's like, boom, like, that really stands out.
There's so many, man. That's a pretty hard one to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Um, honestly, as of late, it's probably got to be our good friend David Anijo, if I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
Um, earlier on, it would have been somebody else, but the reason why that's been so impactful is it just has me realizing that what we're doing here is so much more than just giving somebody something to eat. There's just like delicious things to eat. There's a lot of them out there. You can search them out, but using this product that we've worked so hard to bring to market as a stepping stone or as a platform to do something even bigger, which is to be a part of people's lives, to be a part of their memories, to be a part of their experiences, to share good ideas and good messages, and to actually make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's been huge. And I think the other really impactful thing was just being out in, you've done this a lot more than I have, but being out in Campo and just working with the guys in our processing facility,
Mm-hmm.
and just watching those dudes work and having my hands in the cacao and seeing how something gets transformed from a fruit that's on a tree into all the way through the process into something that can be eaten and enjoyed by people all over the country and all over the world. But just seeing how real people work hard to make that happen,
Mm-hmm.
and being involved in that was something that I've carried with me for a really long time. What about you? Who's the one person?
I realized after I asked the question that it's impossible to nail it down
It's
to
impossible.
one person, but I would say, looking at the different segments of what we do, like in Campo, by far, Noe and Don Fortunato, those
Yeah.
guys, and also Oscar Ayala, who's a great friend of
Yeah.
mine and runs our Peru operation now. And when I'm not there, so those guys, we've talked about them before. And then on the chocolate side, gosh, I've met so many great
Oh
ones.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick one. He's come to visit us in Campo a couple times. I'm dying to go visit him. And we've also, another time we got together in Lima when he was there for something else that didn't involve our business together, and we hung out for a couple days and just had a great time. Alistair Gower, Ali Gower from the Chocolate Tree in Edinburgh, Scotland. Ali's just a great, great guy, really soulful, smart, good businessman, amazing chocolate maker, good father. He brought his daughter to Campo, which is something that no one had done before he did it. And man, oh man, he's just a really impactful guy in my life. His sort of soulful qualities and some of the conversations we had have sort of impacted me and expanded my horizons a little bit.
Actually, let me add one more thing. some people who probably don't realize what a big impact they had on our business.
Mm-hmm.
And just my own personal way of thinking. I mean, we're not so close with them, but we are close with them, is the people at Ritual Chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Robbie,
they're, yeah,
Rob and Anna. Yeah. Robbie
both
and
of them, yeah. But they approached me at a Northwest Chocolate Festival, a big event here in the Seattle area,
Mhm.
and gave me some of their bars.
Mhm.
Their old Costa Rica bars, which were so great. And they told us that they wanted to work with our cacao. And because of them, we really got into starting to sell cacao to the sort of the craft chocolate market for a long time. We don't do as much anymore, and we're kind of transitioning away from it. But those two also kind of changed my thinking about what our company should be doing. And then when they made their bar with our cacao, their Marignon bar, that also for me was just a really big thing for our company that just meant a lot, and it was so well done. And so those two really also had a real,
That's cool.
in the industry, had
Mhm.
a big impact on the way that I thought about our place in the world.
That's
as
cool.
well.
I have to mention one more
Yeah.
person, and this person would probably never imagine this, but I presented for I don't know, a half dozen years at the Lima Cacao and Chocolate Salon. I would do various presentations, and I got approached afterwards by a young lady who actually asked me for not for my autograph, but she asked if I would be willing to meet with her. She knew who I was, and she was kind of like fanning out on me, like, and I was like, whoa, what is this? Because I'm just Brian, I'm just me. But she was like she was coming across as a little bit starstruck, but she also had something in mind. She asked me to get together. We had a cup of coffee there at the salon, and this young lady had come down to Peru to do like a graduate program, and she was just discovering cacao and chocolate and just wanted to get into it. And she was just pursuing sitting down and talking to various people. And then she went on to open up a store. She got so involved in the craft chocolate community in Peru, she went on to open up a store, and she got really deeply involved to where she has become a sort of a hub. She's now way more like knowledgeable about all the craft chocolate that's going on in Peru than I am, and has a little store in Barranco and sells all the best of Peruvian craft chocolate to tourists and locals alike. Her name's AJ Wildy, and she's got her little store El Caucatal in Barranco in Lima, Peru. And she really impacted me just in the way that it's possible to just get passionate about chocolate and then find a little crack in the system and work your way in there and expand out and create a role for yourself and get into the business just through your passion, but also smartly following your passion and kind of connecting to people. Again, the people theme, connecting to people and making those connections, and then just slowly building something that ends up becoming a livelihood and not just an avocation, but a vocation. She really, watching her create that role for herself was really impactful for me too. And I'm sure she doesn't listen to this, and I haven't seen her in a couple of years, but AJ really impacted me too. AJ Wildy at Calcatal in Lima. Mm-hmm.
There you go, bro. Well, hey, we're running short on time, so we're probably gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Everybody, don't forget to check us out at fortunatochocolate.com right now. You can't order dark chocolate online.
No.
But we have our dark milk, which is delicious. We have the milk chocolate, which is delicious. Thank you, everybody who's listening, who has purchased chocolate from us, who reads our daily emails, who listens to the podcast, who has maybe left us a review online. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. And Brian, you want to go ahead? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to mention one more thing. So for all the people who are on here who are listening, again, we apologize that we can't just straightforwardly offer our 68% dark right now. Do try that 47% dark milk. You're going to love it. And, we're doing our best to keep up with orders. We appreciate the patience of everybody. The USPS is doing a good job. Once they get the stuff picked up and in their system, they're still doing a good job of getting stuff out. They're having trouble staffing enough to regularly come pick up the packages. We're having to sometimes act as postal carriers and take the stuff over to the post office. Some days they just can't make it. We beg everybody's forgiveness for any potential delays that are happening. We're subject to these same market forces that everybody is. And so just a huge note of appreciation to those folks who've ordered and who are patiently waiting. We'll get it to you. But everything's taken longer, and we do apologize, but thank you for your patience.
Excellent. All right, Brian, you want to go sign us off with the old Fortunato jingle, since we don't have the new one ready yet?
I feel so inadequate now that we've got a newer, better one, but okay. This is for the moment. This is it. All right. Fortunato, yum.
All right, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.